This is Soph,
This is Rich
and we are from
from
across the
across the
pond.
pond.
What's going on, girl?
Going down. Uh, Not a lot was going down with you. Huh?
How was your week?
The week. Do you know what? Before we come on here, I always think, oh yeah, I must remember what I've done. And then it goes out of my brain. And then you come on and say, how was your week? And I'm like,
We
what?
call those brain farts.
Okay, I call it, I don't know what, old age memory loss.
Old age memory loss.
Yeah, so this week I have done photo editing, photos, the usual work. What else have I did this week? Had coffee with the dude, met up with Fiona for lunch.
Yeah.
Worked with my mum today, which is why I look like this, because I literally ran in the door,
You
ran
look
upstairs.
fine. Knock it off.
Ran in the door, ran upstairs to a text message from, I'm waiting on you. So here I am, straight in.
Bam.
So yeah, before anyone says anything, I have been to work all day and I haven't had time to have a shower before we come on here, but there's no smell of vision. It's just visual. So you ain't got to worry about it. Week, yeah. One thing I did want to say is, obviously we love TikTok. We met on TikTok, whatever. We've met a lot of people on TikTok, Salty Bits, loads of people that we've made friends with. Me and you included have met on TikTok. I went on TikTok. I don't go on there as much as I used to. I don't have the time now. The world has opened up. I don't have as much time, but I still love it and I still go on there when I can. But I had a little flicker in the week. Southie's been at his dad's. As soon as I opened it, there was one guy on there who is one of the first people I followed since I started it. Him 372, I think his user ID is. His name's CJ. And he passed away. His mum and sister went on his TikTok and basically, he was only 50. I remember seeing a couple of months ago, he was doing some traveling on a motorbike for his 50th. But yeah, his mum and sister went on his TikTok and made a video saying he'd had an unexpected out of the blue heart attack.
Oh, well, our condolences to him.
Exactly, because I know I didn't know him per se, but it's still very sad,
Yeah.
Young.
He did a lot of TikToks with a lot of people.
Yeah, he was very popular. I think he had something like 90,000 followers. He was very popular. And funny enough, when I looked at my notifications, he'd only like 2 or 3 days ago commented on one of my videos, and we done some duets together or whatever. But yeah, sad, man, sad.
Yeah.
So young.
Well, our hearts go out to him. Condolences to his family and the friends of TikTok.
Exactly. The TikTok is like a little family of its own, man.
I'm telling you, I think, to be honest, the grown-ups done took over TikTok. I don't see any young people on TikTok as much as when it first started.
No, me either. They're back at school now. They ain't got time for that.
Maybe it's because of our grown algorithm.
Maybe. Let's get a grown-up over 30s algorithm going.
Yeah,
I'm trying to think what else happened. Maybe I should start writing it down because it always seems like a blur come Friday. Yeah. And I'm sure I did have something else to tell you.
Well, what's going on in the news over there?
Oh, I'm doing everything in one go. Okay. Do you know what's going on in the news? McDonald's has run out of milkshakes, and it's been like that for a few days. It's been like that for a few days now. They've got no milkshakes.
McDonald's running out of milkshakes.
Yep. And we have a restaurant here called Nando's. Do you have that?
No.
It's a chicken restaurant, not like KFC. I'm talking about a proper restaurant. You go in, proper food. They were out of chicken in the week, and they're basically the newsreader is blaming it on the fact that we've left the EU. Like, now we've left the European Union, supplies are not coming through as much. But I mean, we have chickens in this country. Why can't they just get chickens from here, And as for ice cream, well, come on, McDonald's, man, sort it out.
Well, my week has been very eventful.
There were some other things in the news, but carry on.
Well, continue on.
No. So last week we mentioned about this whole shiznit going on in Afghanistan.
Yes, it's getting ugly.
Yeah, well, not all of them, probably about 3 or 4 of our MPs or people from the government have all been not chucked under the bus because it's their own fault. Like, basically, when it all kicked off, they just went on holiday and they haven't been answering their phones. So all of UK soldiers and people like that have been stuck out there. There was a news reporter, and basically they were obviously supposed to be some of the first people to be pulled out. And the dude who was meant to make in Parliament, who was meant to make the telephone call, went on holiday and then never answered his phone. And then when they did get hold of him to say, you need to come back, he said, oh, don't worry, I gave the job to somebody else to do, which transpired to be a lie. So people in our government have basically buggered off on holiday and left them to it. I did hear on the news when I was traveling back from working with my mum that basically all UK armed forces people will be pulled out of there within the next 2 hours. And basically anybody, because obviously they're trying to get people out. If you're not on that airfield now, then you're not going to make it out of there. They're only taking people on the planes that are already at the airfield.
Wow. Well, I know it's getting ugly over there. They had a bombing right out front of the airport.
That's right.
And some people lost their lives. Some soldiers were injured. It's just getting ugly over there. It's getting really, really ugly over there.
Like, you was in the military. Do you know anyone that's still in the military that's over there?
No, I do not. It's been a minute since I was in the military.
I know, but you might know some little whippersnappers.
Yeah. But no, I haven't heard any of fellow servicemen over there doing their due diligence. But my heart and prayers go out to them because it's getting ready to get ugly. I mean, it ain't getting ready to. It is. It's ugly over there. And then on top of that, FDA finally officially approved these vaccinations. So now our president is pushing everyone to get vaccinated. My thing about it now is like they're trying to give incentives
They've been doing
vaccinations. And I don't get that. Like, I ain't getting an incentive for getting a jab. Look, it's a choice. If you want to get a jab, you get a jab. If you don't, you don't. I don't see the point in giving incentives to make people get a shot.
But surely,
if they don't want to get a shot,
at some point, isn't somebody going to question why are they giving people incentives to get the jab? Why are they forcing them to get it? No one seems to be saying anything about that. But while you brought the jab up, I did see in the week the CEO of the Pfizer jab, he hasn't even had the vaccine himself yet. And when the news reporter asked him why not, he said, I don't want to be looked to cut in the line.
He don't want to look like he's cutting the line?
Yeah, the line of people, all these people that haven't had it yet that are waiting for it. He made the jab and he don't even want to take it.
Yeah. Well, to each his own. That's what I look at it. I mean, it's sad that people are getting sick now with this Delta variant and people are getting worse off. And they're saying that it's the unvaccinated that are getting sick, but
have they said has anybody said anything about a potential another lockdown over there if the numbers don't go down?
I don't think there's ever going to be another lockdown like there was.
No.
Nah.
Well, how's your week been anyway?
We'll have to wait and see, because when this weather changes and it starts to fall, never know. It might spike up again.
So that's what's happening in your news. What's happened in your week?
My week is I've been diligently working on the book.
That makes a change.
Yes. I've been working on the book. Of course, still working the shift that I don't like. but I'm being optimistic and I'm being positive. I'm very excited about the new book though. So hopefully that'll be finished here soon. And what else?
Sorry.
My health is good. I'm good mentally and physically.
Good. That is the one thing we need to hear.
Mm-hmm.
Can I just tell you one more thing about my week?
Go for it.
I got a new doorbell. Right? But
doorbell.
Not just any doorbell. It's one of those ones where you can see, like, and talk to people when they come up to your thing.
I have the same thing.
Okay, well, I've wanted one, but I only got one this week, and it says little, medium, or large to set your motion, right? So I set it in the middle, and every time something goes, it goes pring. There's motion at your door. Pring, there's motion at your door. I'm like, okay, fine. I don't want to turn it down in case I miss something, right? But after the first night, I didn't realize that every time it says there's motion, it records it for however long to show you what the motion is. So after the first night, I woke up and it was like, you've got 9 notifications, there's motion in the middle of the night. And I was like, wow, who's been outside my house in the middle of the night? Watched it. It was a spider making a web across the front of the bloody camera.
Oh, look at you. He was busy.
But I did speak to the mailman the other day. When I went for lunch with Fiona, they said I was going to have a delivery between 9:30 and 11:30. So I waited in, he didn't come, went out. So then at 12:30, it said, somebody is at your door. And I opened it and I saw him standing there. So I pressed the mic and I said, hello. And he said, I've got a parcel. And I said, can you just leave it round the back, please? And he was like, yeah, sure, I can. And I saw him go round, come back, and I said, thank you. It works.
Yeah, I have it set. Well, I have mine set for only people.
Oh, I looked at that earlier. It recognizes if people are coming.
Right, when people are walking by and stuff like that.
Okay, but
because I had it set up, and then every school bus, every car that drove by, everything was just becoming a nuisance.
Yeah, but where you live, there's loads of wild animals. What if I've seen it on Facebook when people have bears in their garden? You could have a bear out there and you wouldn't know then because it didn't only.
Yeah, well, I don't have a doorbell facing my garden, my yard.
Yeah, but wherever your doorbell's set up to, there could be a bear out there and you would never know because you've only set it up to look for people.
I mean, it's still going to record if it gets close enough, but.
Yeah, but it's not going to give you a notification and then you're going to go out there, be faced with a big grizzly bear.
I'm going to see a bear 100 miles away. I'm going to see a bear 6 feet away. It doesn't really matter.
Oh, well, I hope you can run fast. So, yeah, that was the other thing. A new doorbell. Ding dong.
You go. Get that ring, girl.
Now, what was I going to say? We totally admitted on Sunday that Friday's show was shite, right? We know that. Right. And I'm so grateful for our subscribers, followers, listeners, because we now know that we are definitely in tune with them, because we had comments and a couple of people said, actually, it wasn't your best show. You're funny when you don't actually tell jokes. You just, it just happens that way. When you seemed like you was trying too hard, and it didn't work.
Yeah, we were.
And whatever that comment is exactly what we said after the show. So 2 thumbs up to the followers, subscribers. We love it when you comment.
Thanks, followers.
We take
Thanks
all your
subscribers.
We take
for
all
showing us love.
We take all your comments. Oh my goodness. We take all your comments on board. And I just love that we're in tune with them.
Yes. And I love that we take constructive criticism very well, as you can see.
To be fair, anytime anybody suggested something, we've generally done it.
Yeah, that is true. I must agree with that. Now, on to topic. It's Fun Friday. Blah, blah, blah. You know what Fun Friday means. I want to talk about
more fun than last Friday.
I know, right? How about let's talk about jobs. Your first job, your worst job, what job you would want in the future if you don't already have the job of your dreams?
Okay, answer me this much. What did you want to be when you was younger?
Now, don't laugh,
Oh God.
but I went through some, when you asked me this, our topic, I went through some old paperwork of mine that I found. And guess what it was? I can't, and I hate when I find something and I put it down and I can't find it. But I had a drawing when I was in fourth grade. I think it was either first grade or second grade, and it says, "What do you want to be when you grow up?" And guess what I wrote down?
Oh God,
A
Superman.
singer. It had a little character. It was a little character with like an afro. It was the cutest thing ever. And I don't remember that ever saying that, but
Oh.
that's what it said. When I grow up, I want to be a singer.
So do you remember when people used to ask you, do you remember what you used to say as you got older?
No.
See, now I do. Like, I don't know why adults love asking kids, what do you want to be when you grow up? Yeah. I remember when I was about 5, people used to say, what do you want to be when you grow up? And I used to say, I want to be a mum. That's all I used to say. I want to be a mum. And then after that, I really wanted to be a vet up until the age I was about 10. And then the more I thought about it, like, because I love animals. So I thought, well, I remember saying to my mum, I don't think I can be a vet, because if it comes to putting animals to sleep, I'll just be crying all the time. So I won't want to do it. I won't want to kill them. And then also, like if they bring ones in that are strays, I'll just take them all home. So I'd end up with a house full of animals, and no way.
Doolittle.
Yes, exactly. So that's why I then changed my mind. And then after that, I decided I wanted to work with children.
Oh, yeah. So that being said, what was your first job ever?
Okay, sorry, Mum. My first job ever, my mum made me get a paper round, like in the old days where you used to have newspapers delivered to your door. And where we lived, which is just down the hill from where I live now, the road is long, right? Long, Baldine Road. We was 229, so it goes way on past that. So when she signed me up for this paper round, we got a free paper called the Bucks Free Press. Was delivered every Thursday. And that was obviously my job. So they would come to my house while I was at school and just dump loads of papers in piles in the kitchen floor. They didn't even give me a trolley. I just had a bag, right? Now, these papers were so heavy, my mum would load up my house was probably 3/4 of the way up the road, right? So my mum would load up the bag. I'd have to walk down one side of the street until the papers ran out of the bag, come back, load up again, go back to where I finished, cross the road, walk up a bit, go back to my house to load up the bag again, go back there, walk up there, come back to the house, get the rest of the papers, go back there, cross the road, come back. Boy, if I tell you, I probably only got like £7, and it's 300 odd houses. It was like £7. And I remember, I think I was probably like 11 or 12, maybe 12, yeah. Mm-hmm. And I remember after the second week, I'm not a lazy person, right? I've always worked since I left school, but I definitely physical work is not really sometimes for me. So after about 2 weeks, I just took my bag with the papers and sat in the park in the next road. And I remember sat on the bench thinking, I'm not doing this. It's winter. It's dark. I'm not doing it. And I just chucked the bag. I just chucked the papers in the bin, and then waited how long I thought it would have been. Now, don't get it twisted. I didn't chuck them all away. I'd probably say 60-40. Chucked 60, delivered 40. I just couldn't bring myself to do it. Like it was slave labor. Come on, man. £7 for over 300 houses after I'd been at school all week. Nah, that wasn't for me. So anyway, after the 3rd or 4th week, I did it twice, and then I dumped him in the park twice. Then when I got home, my mum said, the lady from the newspaper's been on the phone. And I was like, why? She said the papers haven't been delivered. I said, well, they have, because you see me, I left the house with them and I had them in the bag. She was like, well, someone's complained that they haven't had their paper delivered for 2 weeks. And I said, right, forget it, then I ain't doing it anymore. And I never did it again.
Boy, you were rough back in the day. I'm gonna tell you, before I got an official paycheck, I did a lot of odd jobs. Before I actually got an official, I had an official job where you needed a W-2 for taxes.
W2?
It's a tax
No,
form.
we have a P45 or a P60. It must be the same for you.
Yeah. So my very first job is I worked at a church. I cleaned a church, and I'm gonna tell you, cleaning the bathrooms in the church was the most disgustingest thing I've ever seen. Women's bathrooms are terrible.
Oh yeah, they're much worse than men's. I don't know why women.
I don't know why either, but they were disgusting. Now, I have a quick story. I had my earphones on, and a sanctuary, which the pews and all that, huge. I'm talking about huge. So I'm vacuuming, got my earphones in, vacuuming, and all of a sudden, out of the corner of my eye, I saw this old man come walking towards me, scared the living jeebies out of me to where I scraped to the top of my lungs. And it was one of the deacons of the church. Scared the mess out of me.
What, did you think he was a ghost or something?
I don't know. He walked so slow, it just caught me out of guard. And then he didn't even say nothing to me. He just kept walking towards me. So I was like, oh my God.
Did he say anything when you started screaming?
Yeah, he was like, hey, young man, it's okay. I'm just making sure everything is all right. I was like, well, you could at least said something. And then he just kept walking around, like the church was huge. So he kept walking around.
He's probably making sure you was doing your job properly.
Yeah, properly. Yeah. Now, my first official job, I was a busboy at 14 years old.
A bus boy?
Yeah, and that's what a guy. If you ever go to a posh restaurant and you have a waiter, and then you have the bus person who takes all the dishes off the table and then resets the table, that was my job.
Nice.
And that's the first time I learned how to,
lay a table.
My hourly rate and all that. I had to do that out by myself, by hand. That was before they had the old computer and the punch card. You had the card, you had to write your hours down and how much you made and all that good jazz.
Well, my first proper job, obviously taking away my paper round, I left school and I went to work in a nursery looking after kids. Remember, I said I wanted to work with kids after that. So yeah, I did that for 2.5 years and I was like an apprentice. So I was working towards our MVQ at the time, 2 of them, one in customer care and one in childcare and education. So yeah, that was my first paid job. And do you know what? I love kids. And I loved the job, but it definitely was an eye-opener. Like, people could leave their children there from the age of 6 weeks old up to 5 years. Like, it was a private nursery, so they paid, obviously. And I found something bizarre. Like, there were people that would they'd bring their children in. Like, let's just say, for example, this, like now, the schools are broke up for summer holiday, right?
Right.
The nursery was still open because it was for younger kids, 6 weeks to 5 years. So people could still bring their children there. Even like, people were teachers, so they had the whole 6 weeks off and they'd still bring their younger children and leave them there, and I'd be like, don't you want to, or they'd bring them in on Christmas Eve, like the day before Christmas Day. They'd bring their kids in and just leave them there for the day. Like, I mean, the whole day, not even like, let me just have a couple of hours break. From like 7 a.m. till 6 p.m. They just leave them there all day.
They probably needed a break.
Yeah, but it's Christmas.
What's the funnest job you've had?
Ooh.
I've had several, but I'll narrow it down.
See, now I find you can either, before obviously working for myself, I found that you either had a rubbish role in a company with good pay or crap pay and a good job. You could never get both. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I find when you say what's the best job I've had,
Well, funnest. I wouldn't say best job.
funnest,
Something that you enjoyed going to.
I think it's not necessarily that I enjoyed doing the job. It was the people that made it worth going. Do you know what I mean?
Mhm.
And I'd have to say that would either be working at Morelli's, which was a car place. So basically it was like a shop with a warehouse on the back, and we made car paints. So if you scratched your car and you wanted to have it repainted, you'd come in and tell us, I want, here's my paint code, da da da. They did all supplies like that, you know, like sanding stuff, this, that, or the other. And funny enough, after I was there for about a year, I got Michaela a job there. So us two dudes, we were back in business since school. Yeah, so that's why it was fun. We had such a laugh. You know, like we not being mean, we'd take the mickey out of people, you know, we just have fun. So it's toss up between that one or when I was a manager at Virgin, because okay, to describe the job, it was in a call center. And I used to say, oh my God, I feel like my air supply has been cut off. Do you know what I mean? As soon as you open the door, you're like, oh, I'm at work here again. But it was the people that kept me there so long. Like, that's where I met Fiona, Roy, and Fiona was another manager. And there was another guy called Lee. And we used to sit like in a little triangle, and we'd be like the three amigos, you know, and we'd go on breaks together and go on lunch together and get each other drinks. And if it was quiet, we just used to sit there and talk, you know. And I remember Roy was actually on my team. I was his manager. We used to go for lunch all the time. And he'd be like, oh my God, we're late back by like 10 minutes. And I'd be like, oh, don't worry, I'll just get it wiped off the system.
So you can say that now because you probably be fine.
Yeah. But I made so many great friends there, like people that I would generally call my friends. And there's even a guy called Julian who I used to be his manager, and we've kept in contact. To this day, he still calls me Gaffer. He never calls me by my real name. He always says, all right, Gaffer, you know, how you doing? Blah, blah, blah. Just funny.
Yeah. Well, I have two jobs that I really, really enjoyed in high school. One I did for a short stint because I don't know if they were just shorthanded, but they let everybody go. And it was at a crab shack. And you want to talk about fun? All you did was take crabs and you make bushels out of them. So say if somebody wanted like a dozen crabs, you put 6 crabs and you put it in like in a circle and you throw ice on them and just pinch them down in a basket. I thought that was the coolest
Were
job
they
ever.
alive?
Yeah. You just snatch them up, put rubber bands on them, and throw them in a barrel, throw ice on each layer, and then bam, ship them. I thought that was the funnest job ever.
Didn't you come back smelling of fish?
Yes, you smell like crab all day long. And then the second most favorite job of all time, just like you, I got my best friend to work there. We worked at a pretzel stand in the mall. As a teenager, working in the mall was like one of the best jobs to ever have. And to have your best friend work with you on top of it was hilarious. We used to open and close together. We used to eat the food up. We used to eat, it was a Slurpee machine and pretzels. And I kid you not, we gained so much weight eating pretzels and Slurpees. And we sold the most too because we were popular. Like,
Yeah.
we complimented each other because it was only 2 people. And we complimented each other so much that it was just fun to go to work. Like we saw each other at school all day, and then we went to work together, and it was just a good time the whole way around.
See, this is the thing. Me and Michaela used to work together. Like we'd either get a taxi or we'd get the bus and walk together every morning. We'd spend 8 hours together in the little office in the shop at work. And then I'd say at least 3 times a week we'd go and get some food on the way home, like either Pizza Hut or wherever. And then in the evening we'd be on the phone to each other all night. You know, it was just constant. But there's like I've still got a really good friend. He was actually a customer, right? He's a friend of Michaela's as well. Like we've been out clubbing in London with him. Like it is a blast. But I used to think he was so rude. Like we never really saw the customers from like big like car places, you know, like Porsche or whatever, you know, but he would literally leave it like the vans would go to do their deliveries. They'd leave in the morning at 8 and then they leave in the afternoon at 1. So obviously they'd have all their van, they'd have like an hour, half hour to pack up their van and then they'd be off. He'd literally leave it till 5 minutes before they had to go and he'd call up, right? Now, if someone calls up to ask you for a paint thing, they'd give you like a little code. So the phone would ring and I'd be like, oh, good afternoon, Morelli. How may I help you? And he'd go, Mercedes 82C, what is it? So you'd have to go over to the little computer, type it in, come back, and I'd say, oh, it's a blue colour, half a litre on the van. And then he'd cut the call off, right? And I'd be like, God, this guy is rude. Do you know what I mean? I can't stand people without manners. So there was one particular day, he went, and I was like, good afternoon, Morelli, how may I help you? And he went, Mercedes 32C, what is it? And I forgot to turn the mic off on the phone. And I said, oh my God, he's rude, man. No, I never turned the mic off. Went and look, come back. I said, oh, hi, it's a blue colour. And he went, so I'm rude, am I? And I said, to be honest, you are. You know, you literally just bark down the phone and then cut the call off, you know, so you are rude, yeah? And he went, I'll tell you why I'm like that is because I leave it till the last minute. He said, because I've had a last minute job come in and I know I want that on the van and you've only got like 10 minutes. So I just give it you as it is. And I was like, okay, that's fine. I'm just telling you that I thought you were rude. And he was like, okay, then got off the phone. I was like, about, I don't know, an hour later, I was typing away on my computer and somebody just dropped a big bunch of keys on the counter. And I looked up, there was this big Asian guy standing there and he was like, it's me. I'm the one who's rude. I thought I'd come and introduce myself and meet you. And I was like, oh my God. But since then, we was all friends. Funny.
Now, I'm going to tell you, the worst job that I had, I worked at UPS, the Postal Service, and I scanned parcels and put it into a truck all night long. You want to talk about hard, and it was 100 degrees, and I worked at a steel tubing plant, pretty much the same thing.
You worked at a what?
Steel tubing plant.
Steel tubing plant.
Mm-hmm. They made steel tubes. Mm-hmm. It came on it looked like a big roll of a sheet. It looked like a roll of toilet paper, but and it went through a machine. Like the steel went through the machine and it cut different size of tubes, and you would have to pick it up like that and stick it into some crates and then band it and ship it. And I kid you not, those 2 jobs were the worst 2 jobs ever. I got fired from one because I got into a fight. It was one of those things where it was so hot, that everybody's temper was on edge, and the guy was just a straight, complete idiot, and me and him did not get along. And he said something to me, and I just snapped and jumped on the forklift and was just like, ah. And I got fired. And then with the UPS job, again, it was hot. You're sitting inside a trailer, and they give you this scan gun that goes on your hand and on your finger, and you just scan the barcode and throw it in the truck, scan and throw it. And then once you get a bunch in the truck, then you have to put it in there nice and neat. Like you can't just have it just thrown in there. And it just comes down this chute. So you're just getting tons of partials, and you're standing in this like mess, and you're just scanning barcodes and just, it was worse. And I'm gonna tell you one more job that I kid you not, I had just got out of the military, and I was working at this medical supply company. And what my job was, I had my own van, and every morning I would get like beds and oxygen and supplies and stuff, need machines and stuff, and I would go to hospitals, people's houses, and give them whatever they need to be comfortable. Bed machines, beds, mattress pads, all that. And I'm gonna kid you not, it was the most life draining job I've ever had in my. I mean, I've literally seen more people die in that job alone than in the military. And I was in war. I watched more people, I've seen more people die doing that job, because what happens is you would say, like, for instance, a literally lady died right in front of me while I was putting a bed together. She was hitting on me. She was, it was cute. It was a little old lady, and she was like, "Boy, you're handsome." She was like, "I bet you get all the ladies," and yada yada yada. And I was like, "Man, whatever, thank you." And I'm putting the bed together, and she just stopped talking.
You
And then I
broke
was
her
just,
heart.
no, I didn't. I said
Oh,
thank you. It was like, yeah, whatever. And I'm steady talking to her, putting the bed together. And then all of a sudden she just stopped talking. And I was just like, ma'am, ma'am.
oh, yeah, I couldn't do that. I couldn't do that job.
And I'm gonna tell you, the one job, me and a guy broke down right along with the customer, because he had this house that was, I'm talking about, beautiful. And we were coming to collect this stuff. His wife had passed away, and he started giving us these sob stories that we were just like, both of us was just standing there, and all three of us was just like in tears. He's like, "I didn't really know it was real until the coroner gave me her wedding ring." And I was just like, "Oh man." So then, as you're trying to take the stuff out of the house, he wants to help. He's like, "Oh, what can I do to help?" And we're just like, "No, man, just relax. We got it." And he had a big picture of his wife. She was beautiful. Next thing you know, this car drives up. He had twin daughters that looked just like his wife. And I was like, "Oh, I don't know how he could take it." I was like, "Yo, I don't know how he's going to do it." And me and the guy, and then, he had to sign off. It was like we were there forever too, because it was kind of hard not to say, "Get out of the way."
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because he was, going through his little grieving process. So we were letting him help, but he was like telling the stories as he was helping. And it was just tearing my heart apart.
But that's the thing. I think sometimes you have to, as much as you're there to do a job, you have to, like, sometimes emotions do get in the way. Like when I worked at Virgin, the amount of disciplinaries I had to do, or if people were sick. And I remember one particular girl, Trisha, she'd lost a baby, but before she lost the baby, she was always crying wolf. Do you know what I mean? So claiming to be sick, and she literally knew how to work the system, just to the point where we couldn't sack her. But everyone knew that she was not really sick. But then when she did really have an issue, i.e., like, she lost her baby, she came in. I had to bring her. She was meant to have a home visit, but she came into the office. So there was me and then my manager who had to do the meeting. And he was straight away saying, "We ain't taking no rubbish from her. We're managing her out of the building. She's been like this for long enough." Da, 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 da. Boy, when she came in and told us the story, I'm not going to tell the story. It's not mine to tell. But I thought to myself, "Oh my God, I'm going to cry. Don't cry, don't cry, don't cry." And literally towards the end, I just went, and then I said, "Oh my God, I'm so sorry. I couldn't keep it in." She was like, "Oh no, it's fine." So we had a little cry together. And I thought to myself, "God, don't look at my manager, because he's going to say to me, 'You're so unprofessional.'" And then after she left, I said to him, "I'm really sorry, but I just couldn't keep it in, like that was too much." And he went, "Do you know what? If you hadn't have got upset, I'd have been questioning, like, how do you actually have a heart?" And I was like, "Oh man, I couldn't keep that in. Sorry."
Yeah, I mean, that job was the most stressful job I've ever had. Like I would come home and just be like mentally drained. Because
Mm,
then you had people who were like, there was a lady who was like almost 100 years old.
mm,
Okay. And for HIPAA regulations, you're not allowed to like help. You're just supposed to just give him instructions. And she was like, sir, is it possible you can help me get this mattress on? I can't like lift her and do it at the same time. And sometimes you just gotta have compassion. I was just like, you
mm,
know what? Screw it. I got you, ma'am.
mm.
I help you. Yeah, yeah. And she just, and then I went back maybe 2 or 3 weeks later, the lady had passed away. So I had to come and get the stuff. The lady shut the door and she turned around and just like cried in my arms and was like, I just want to thank you. I'm so happy you came and got the stuff because you were the only person from this company that's ever helped us, was nice and kind. And I was just like, no problem, man. You know what I mean?
I know. The thing is, though, like they always say, when you got a job, you leave your personal life at home and then you leave your work life at the door. So when you go home, you leave your work home. But sometimes it's not always possible to do that. Like
Yeah.
teen stories have gone. Like I remember there was a little boy who had been accidentally, like not a proper gun, like a pellet gun or something,
Mhm.
but one boy had got his dad's pellet gun and fired it by accident and like killed the baby, right?
Oh,
And it
wow.
just so happened that that was the nephew of somebody that was on my team at work. And when you go home and you hear it on the news and you're like, oh my God, you can't just shut off like that.
Yeah. Now, what is your dream job?
I mean, would it sound really corny if I say I do my dream job?
No, I said you could already have your dream job.
Oh, the
That's
only thing I would like to do is I mean, it's obviously it's different now because after Corona, everybody's a bit scared, about going close to people and all the rest of it. But I'd just like to have more customers that I could that I could choose. That would be nice. If I could photograph newborn babies 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Yes, line them up. I'm gonna do it.
yeah.
Mm.
I honestly think, like I've said this from day one, I would love my dream job would just be a movie critic. I can just get paid to watch movies and critique them. That would be a dream job for me. Get me some movie snacks and let me watch movies all day, and then I give
I
you my
mean,
input and you pay me to do that.
to be fair,
And
we do it. You just don't get.
I know, right?
Oh, okay. Well, let me ask you, do you remember anything about your childhood, like your mom or your dad ever having a job that stands out? Because I'm going to
Yes,
tell
my
you,
dad.
sorry, I'm going to tell you while you think about it. My dad used to be the manager at this company called Cable Link, and they made cables. And he'd probably say I only ever went there if I wanted to lift home because it was in town. So I used to go there. But when I was much younger, they had a label making machine, right? So you could type in this little computer what you wanted, press it, they would print it all out on a label. I used to love going there, just
Yeah.
typing stuff, print it, sticking it everywhere. That's what
Yeah.
sticks out to my mind, the label making machine.
My dad had two wonderful jobs. He was a dispatcher at Greyhound bus station. He did that for years. And then he worked for the telephone company. And he did that till he retired.
I
And I love that job because you knew exactly when he was coming home. And then on top of that, like I got my first personal phone through my dad. It was a clear phone, but you could see all the intricates in the inside. And I
really
had my very first phone bill. That was my very first bill before I even got a car. I had a phone bill.
I bet that was a lot smaller than it is now.
Yeah.
The size of your bill. My dad actually did have another job. He when he moved a few like up north, he bought a corner shop with a post office in, and I remember when I go there, he used to say, you can eat, you can help yourself to whatever you want. And I'll be like, wow, where, like when we was younger, we used to have these little sweets that looked like cigarettes, you know. And I remember he had them in his shop, and I was like, "Wow, I'm eating some cigarettes." And I'd read the magazines, and you didn't even have to pay for them. You just read it and put it back on the shelf for somebody else to buy. But I remember one day he said to me, "I'm just going to the loo, so watch the till." And I was like, "Watch the till? What do I do?" At that point, somebody came in, and I was like, "Okay, click, click, click. I'll move that." An alarm started going off on the till, and I was like, so anyway, he came back, pressed the button, and I said, "Oh, okay, thanks." So I gave the man his change. Anyway, it transpires I actually gave the man too much money back on his change. And I was thinking, oh, well, he won't ask me to do it again. But he did.
That sounds like fun.
But it was in a kind of like in a village, so you didn't really have many customers, you know.
Yeah. Well, that's good. It's small, quick, and simple. Yeah, it's small, quick, and simple. I think that's great.
But, you know, when they say it's not what you know, it's who you know, that definitely is correct, because Uncle Fester is a bus driver. And I remember when we was younger, if we wanted to go to town, if he was the bus driver, you never had to pay on the bus. He'd get you on for free.
Yeah, I had an uncle who drove a city bus, and every time he was there, we always got on the bus for free with him.
See?
He retired a bus driver.
We've
A
both
city
got
bus driver.
we've both got uncle bus drivers.
Yeah. City bus driver. He retired too. And it used to be cool because you can see him, like we'd be downtown and he'll be beeping, and we'll just like, hey, that's my uncle. Just drove by. That's my uncle. Yeah. All right. That was Fun Friday.
Job history. I mean, there are a couple of other jobs I could tell you about, but
Yeah,
we
could talk about jobs forever because I've had some very crazy ones as well.
Me
and
too.
Some very sad ones. We've had some serious ones. We've had ones where I got fired. There's ones where I literally just quit and just walked off the.
I'd love to do that. Do you know what I mean? I'd love to really get to. Let's just say, you know, like we talk about lottery wins or whatever. If you were in a job that you really didn't like, I'd love to like have my numbers come in on the lottery and just go in and be like, oh, by the way, I ain't coming back. Bye. You know.
I've done that and didn't win the lottery. I've done that and didn't even win the lottery. Just like, I'm out of here, man. I quit. All right. That being said, on to the next thing.
Can I just say,
Yes.
LOVE that you are remembering the series segment for the last couple of weeks. It literally was out of your mind. And for the last couple of weeks, you have been on it like a car bonnet.
Well, thank you. Thank you
very much. It only took you nearly a year, but thank you.
Hey, sometimes it takes that long. Well, the series of the week is called Hit and Run.
Yeah, and it's in the top 10. It's in the top 10 of UK suggestions on Netflix.
Yeah, Netflix. It's a man searching for the truth behind his wife's death, becomes caught up in a dangerous web of secrets and intrigue stretching from New York to Tel Aviv.
Ooh. What did you think?
It has Shania Lathan in it as well.
To be fair,
basketball.
Who's the chick is that the chick? Who's the chick?
Yes, Shania Lathan, yes.
Yeah, she's the only reason I watched it, even though it's in the top 10. I saw her. The annoying thing is, when you look at the thumbnail, she's the only one in the thumbnail, but she's not even in the first episode until literally you get to the end. But yeah, she was the main reason I watched it. What did you think?
I thought it was different, and I thought it was very suspenseful. And what I mean by it was kind of like a whodunit. So it was kind of like, and then it started getting like thrillerish. Like I wanted to know what happened. Like I wanted to know what happened to the lady. Like, you know what I mean?
You were invested.
Yeah, I was sucked in. I rinsed that bad boy too.
Yeah, I'm not in the same wavelength as you.
All right, well, tell me what you think.
I felt like I thought to myself, God, do I need to put 50p in the side of the telly to speed it up? Come on. It was a bit of a slow burner for me.
Mhm.
I thought the acting in the beginning was a little bit poop. Yeah, I'm disappointed because I wanted it to be good and it wasn't.
Okay, so what is your rating for it?
1 out of 5.
A 1 out of 5.
A 1 out of 5. Yes, 1.
Well, I'm gonna give it a 4. So
Okay, well,
I'm
that
gonna give
means
it a
it gets.
4 because of the action. Shania Lathan, because I think she is it. She does make the movie.
It's a series, not a movie, but
She does make the series.
she's the only reason there's a 1.
Ooh. Well, anyway, there you go, folks.
5 out of
5
10.
out
So
of
that
10.
is average.
Yes, I mean, like I always say, if you ain't got nothing better to do, it's something to put on.
If you've got some decorating and you'd rather watch the paint dry, I suggest you do that. If not, watch Hit and Run on Netflix.
Hit and Run on Netflix.
But if you have seen it, let us know what you think. Or if you watch it, let us know what you think. Because we like to hear what people think. You know, are you going to be Team Rich or are you going to be Team Soph?
Yes.
He's a big fat yes. I'm a big fat no.
Yeah.
To be fair,
I
don't think we've agreed on a series for some time now.
I know.
And I know
Hey,
you're
that's
not
sometimes
this.
how the cookie crumbles.
You know, there was a series called Love is Blind on Netflix.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, they've now got Love is Blind, What Happened After the Altar.
Oh my goodness.
Now I'm gonna rinse that bad boy off. Don't you worry about
You're talking
that.
about that series where they were like they were in them little booths.
Yeah,
and they were talking through the wall.
Yeah, and then they got married.
Yeah. Reality TV, yuck.
Yeah, I don't like all reality TV, but I did like that, Love is Blind. I'm just an old romantic. That's what it is. I love love. I don't love people getting hit in Run or whatever it was bloody called, Hit and Run.
Hey, it was good. I liked it. They left it to where, I mean, I don't want to be a spoiler, but they left it for a second season. So I hope it does.
Can't wait.
Also,
yeah.
Also, I want to put out there that our website is up and running.
Yes. And we've tested it, tried and tested it.
We tried and tested it. We have merchandise on there.
That is being updated all the time. All the time.
Yes, it's across the pond with richandsoph.com.
Oh, sorry. And I did want to say something else, actually. I've just seen it on my pad. The trusty notepad from across the pond. We have decided to promote different businesses probably every other week, incorporated it in the show, in our socials. And we're going to start this week. We're not going to tell you what it is. You'll have to wait and see the pop up the link at the bottom. But yeah, if you would like us to feature you, promote your business, message us. We've got a list already. Hold on.
Message us, DM us, hit us up on our YouTube channel.
We've got 10 businesses on the list so far. It's not a sponsor thing. It's just us promoting businesses and featuring you on our show. Potentially some businesses, we will give you discount codes where if you mention the discount code and then order something from watching our show or having got the code from our socials, you can get money off.
Yes.
We like to help people.
Everybody likes a deal.
Everyone likes a little backhander.
All right, people. This is Soph.
This is Rich.
And we are
from across the pond. Across the pond with Rich and Soph. All right, now holla at me if you're ready to go. Across the pond with Rich and Soph. All right, now holla at me if you're ready to go. Across the pond with Rich and Soph. All right, now holla at me if you're ready to go. Across the pond with Rich and Soph. All right, all right. Now, can I just say before we go, I did notice that you did try and keep it on the down low, but I still noticed the yawn. You managed to do it with your mouth closed a few times and not let it be seen. I see you.
Why, thank you.
The ATP yawn is still in effect.
Yupper.
Yeah, purr. So we will see you. I will see you Sunday.
Yes, Sunday. And don't forget to click and subscribe.
Click and subscribe. Check out the merch. Like and follow on socials. Yep, purr.
Yupper.